Have you watched this TV series called Prison Break? Have you heard of it? So then thereafter I am going to perform the one last surgery. I am going to switch off your thoughts. Where is the world now? No other ideas are valid. My idea is the only validated fact. Suffering, reason for suffering, liberation from suffering, path to liberation. We discussed all four. Very, very good question. Now, enlightenment is not a goal. It's a process.
My first question, why did they cover the chair?
Well, it is a custom where they, to make sure that the chair is clean, so then they cover it with a white cloth for monks. It's a ritual thing, and also it signifies that lay people should not sit on that chair. It is a reserved chair. Now, if you even go in a Sri Lankan public bus, the frontmost seats are reserved for clergy, not only for Buddhist monks, even for Christian or Catholic priests and nuns. They have reserved it because this is the Asian, that is the Asian notion. It's always spiritual based. I'm pretty much sure that US, it's a relatively newly founded country, relatively. So such cultures are based on social aspects, personal development, economical growth. But these ancient Asian cultures have always based on spiritual practices. So it's a good start for our discussion. So I would like to welcome you all for the meditation session. So as like Mahesh said, please feel free to question me at any time. And at the inception, I would like to give you a brief description on what we are going to talk here today. Please stop me if it is not small, if it is not short. Right? Now, have you watched this TV series called Prison Break? Have you heard of it? Some, yes, some do not. Well, it's obviously someone is trying to break out from a prison. So, well, we know that as we all are law-abiding citizens, we always try to be in line with the established norms and laws of a country. So, by any chance, if we violate a law of a land, then we are prone to be imprisoned. So, in such a moment that we get to know that we are in a trouble, we will try to save ourselves from being imprisoned. The first thing, you would go to a lawyer, right? Try to establish a good case for your favor, right? Then that's one part. Then let's say there is no option that you have been imprisoned. Then the next thing is prison break. You try to escape from the prison, right? You try to escape from the prison. Well, if your physical body is confined in a prison, it's very much easy for you to recognize that you have been imprisoned, right? You know that you are in a cell, you are in a confinement, then you know that you are imprisoned. But imagine a situation like this. You were born in a prison. You never knew a life of liberty. You were born in a prison. and you are in your childhood, you do not understand, you have not been exposed to freedom, then would you think that you would know that you are in a prison?
No, because that would be normal.
That would be normal, right? But over time, even when you grow, then there will be an opportunity for you to get the information, the fact that you are being imprisoned and there is something outside which is called freedom. Then only you will struggle to escape that prison. But until that you get to know that you are being imprisoned, you will never try to liberate yourself. Right. So I am taking you, why do we need spirituality? Because it is somewhat easier if you have been physically confined to understand that you are in a cell or in a prison. But when you are mentally confined, when you are psychologically imprisoned, it is very difficult for someone to know that they are in a prison. So how many days you have been in Sri Lanka now? 14 days nearly? About 2 weeks? Yes. So did you enjoy the nature? Did you enjoy the wilderness and the food and the culture and everything? Have you ever got a feeling that you are wandering inside a prison? Maybe even in the US. Have you ever wondered that if you are living in New York or Chicago, whatever the city that you are living, that could be a prison that we do not know because of the very fact that we were born inside a prison? You understand?
Yes, that's why we travel, to get outside of our prison.
And the interesting fact is that you said that we travel, but what happens is you have been transferred from one prison to another. From the prison, from the prison in Dallas to prison in Colombo, from the prison in Lithuania to prison in Sri Lanka. Are you sure you are not being transferred? You are inmates and you have been transferred by somebody? That is where the spirituality comes in. To investigate whether we are in a mental confinement, whether we are being imprisoned by our own mind. Right? So this was a long-lasting investigation since the beginning of civilization, maybe even before that. Everyone was questioning, are we confined? Are we really free? Are we liberated? Then where the term of this liberation, freedom, nirvana, heaven. Now, in Christianity, people believe that they should be in heaven after their death. Why should you want to go to somewhere else after death? Isn't this place better to come back? So the term heaven itself means you are trying to get yourself liberated from here. So it is not only Buddhism. Every religious doctrine is talking about something really interesting. First, to understand whether you are in a prison or not. Later on, try to break the prison. Prison break. You understand? So in Buddhist philosophy, there is a very interesting fact. Now, to make yourself understand that philosophy, I would like to perform a surgery to you. So I'm sorry, this place is not good enough to do a surgery, but unfortunately this is the only place that we have. So I'm going to perform, but don't be afraid. Now let's say you said that you have been traveling for 2 weeks in Sri Lanka, and for your entire life you have been experiencing an entity called the world. You are experiencing it, right? Now how do you experience the world? You can see things through your eyes, and you can hear things as like my voice through your ears, and from all the rest of the 5 organs, nose, tongue, and the sensation through the skin, you perceive the world. And then there's another 6th sense which talks always inside, which is always trying to interpret what is happening. That is the 6th one, right? So I'm going to perform a surgery where I will remove your 5 senses, or more or less the 6 senses, one by one. Now you are sure you are experiencing Sri Lanka, the surrounding. I'm going to make you blind. Now can you see your surrounding? When you are blind, you can't see the surrounding. Now hereafter, you have no more eyes, you can't see. Then I am going to make you deaf. Now even though you are blind, you could hear me and you have the idea that something is there outside. Now when you are deaf, you can't hear anything. You are deaf and blind. But still, you can smell me, you can smell the surrounding. And if you want, you can taste. And also, if you want, you can touch and you can think. Then I am going to remove your olfactory sensation, that then thereafter you can't smell it. Then I am going to remove all your taste buds, the next surgery. Now you can't taste, but still you can touch, like a blind person. Then I am going to make you numb. I am going to put some anesthesia. Now you can't feel, even though you touch something, you can't feel anything. So all the 5 senses are gone, but still you can think, okay, what happened? What happened? What is happening? What is happening? Still the world exists to you. So then thereafter I am going to perform the one last surgery. I am going to switch off your thoughts. Where is the world now? Where is the world? Where is Sri Lanka? You have been traveling for 14 days. Where is US? You have been living for decades. Does it matter it really exists or not? But this is a moment. What do you think? But then again, I am going to do a reverse surgery. I am going to switch on those 6 senses one by one. First, I will switch on your mind. Then you will start thinking again. So the world will start to come up. But not so vibrant. It has no colors. It has no sound. It has no smell. It has no taste, flavor. It has no touch, but still the world is there. So I will give you the opportunity to make it little bit more vibrant. I am going to switch off remove your numbness and let you feel it. Let you touch it. Now the world is coming back into little bit of vibrancy. So gradually I am going to introduce your sensations back again. Your smell, your taste, your hearing, and finally your eyesight. You will start to experience a very vibrant world. Now tell me, for you, don't think of this on behalf of any other. On your point of view, as long as your perceptions are there, the world is there for you. When the perceptions are gradually decreasing, the world is changing for you. It is individual. Now do you realize where is the prison is? The entire world is a prison because it all depends on our perception. Do you understand? So, this is where the spirituality enlightens you on this fact. How does spirituality help you to enlighten on this? Because we were investigating now, right? We were not just blindly following anything. We were investigating, okay, first we observed, okay, we are experiencing a world, number one. Then we investigate, how do we experience the world? Then we got to know, if we shut down senses one by one, then the world no longer exists. When all the six senses are gone, the world that we thought we are experiencing, that we are living in, is no more. And then back again when we switch on, it was an investigatory process. We got to know the fact that the world exists as long as our perceptions are there. Then, how do we make our experience a prison experience? How do we make it a prison experience? When our perceptions derive signals from outside, based on those we generate thoughts. With those fragments of thoughts, just check within you whether I am saying correct or not. If I am saying something wrong, please raise your hand and say, no, it is not the way, right? From the signals from outside world, we generate fragments of thoughts. With the fragments, we weave something. We weave those fragments, pieces of fragments together, and we create something called ideas. Ideas about the world. Now they are no longer simply data. They are no longer simply fragments of thoughts. Now they are ideas. Now just as an example, just think about this meditation session. You were just made known that we are going to have a session from 9 to 10 about meditation, about spirituality. So you got the data from Mahesh, from your brochure, from your travel agent. And then you might have had fragments of thoughts. Okay, this will be like this, somebody will do some dancing. Okay, there will be some music, some singing bowls, some fragments of thoughts. But thereafter, when you are experiencing it, those fragments of thoughts are now becoming ideas. Ideas. Still you are experiencing the world by way of data, by way of fragments of thoughts, by way of ideas. You are not imprisoned yet. Then the final step which makes you imprisoned. You make your ideas ideologies. Well, you will think, my idea is the ultimate idea. That is the ultimate reality. That is the ultimate truth. Nothing else can be there. No other ideas are valid. My idea is the only validated fact. then your idea is simply not an idea. It becomes an ideology. Now you are creating a cell one by one, from brick to a brick. You are creating a cell wall around you. Can you see? So what happens when somebody try to break your ideologies? Somebody says something against your ideology. Now let's say I am a Buddhist monk. So if I have Buddhist philosophical ideas, that is what I am expressing to you right now. This is not something that I created. This was there for the thousands of years. This idea was there. So these are my ideas, Buddhist ideas. Let's say by any chance I have made those ideas into ideologies, that I would say what I preach here is the ultimate truth, nothing but the truth. Now one person here will stand up and challenge me, no, you are saying false. That is utter bullshit. What will happen to me? What will happen to me? I will start to generate unpleasant emotions. Pain and suffering will start to overflow within me, and ultimately it will affect the rest of the world also. Can you see where the suffering comes? So in a prison you are suffering. That is the very purpose of imprisoning a person. If someone is enjoying in the prison, that won't be a prison. The government, the law wants you to be imprisoned to suffer. So here also, if you are making a mental prison, if it is to be a prison, you should suffer with it. Can you see where the suffering comes? Once you make your idea an ideology and somebody challenges it, thereafter the suffering comes. So I don't know whether you are aware, the Buddhism talks about 4 noble truths. The first noble truth is about suffering. Suffering. The second one, the reason for suffering. Third one, the liberation from suffering. Fourth one, path for that liberation. Suffering, reason for suffering, liberation from suffering, path to liberation. We discussed all 4, starting from a TV series, Prison Break. Now you know what make you suffer, that means what make you imprisoned, and you know what is the reason for that, the reason for suffering, that is your hard and fast ideologies. You are not simply let your thoughts to be ideas. You want to make it ideologies. Nobody wanted you to do that. You are doing it. Do you understand? I will give you an example now. I don't know, in Sri Lanka, the most fascinated sport is cricket. Back in US, what is it? Baseball? Football? So, who are your rivalry country with America? Do you have any rivalry country in...
No, it's within itself.
Within itself, right. Okay. Now, let's say you are supporting one particular football club, right? And you are watching a match where your preferred club is playing. That is one situation. Now imagine another situation where you just see a random football match where you have no favoration towards any of the group. There are no favored groups in that match. What do you think? Would you watch the 2 matches in the same way, or would you perceive the match in the same way or in different way? What happens when you are attached to one group, and what happens happens when you are not attached to any of the groups. That is where, this is the best example for ideology. When you are attached to one particular group, that means it is not simply an idea of two groups are playing soccer. It is your ideology against another ideology. But when you are just watching a free match in Sri Lanka where you have no idea who is playing, you can simply watch. Now that happens in Sri Lanka very much. When Sri Lanka plays against India or Pakistan, we just cheer for Sri Lanka if somebody scores something, or when we cheer when somebody walks out, when they blame the players. But when there are matches between Sri Lanka, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Australia, we don't care, we simply enjoy it. We simply enjoy every six, every wicket, we simply enjoy. Why? We are not attached to any ideology. So there is a way you can simply enjoy your rest of your experience in life. It is not necessary to suffer in your human experience. Can you see what you have to do? Don't claim for any favoration for any party, any club. In a very moment you cling on to one ideology, you are not blissfully experience your human existence. But as long as you simply keep your ideas like clouds in the sky, you can enjoy any game in your life. So this is all about Buddhist spirituality. This is what Buddha said thousands of years ago. Enjoy the match. Don't cheer for anyone. I mean, one particular party. You understand? Then comes the meditation. The fourth one, the path. The path to liberation. Now you know what has happened here. But the problem is, when you live, you don't realize that you are in a prison. You don't realize what makes you imprisoned. And for some people, they are so numb, they don't even realize that they are suffering. For some, yes, I believe that none of you are like that. But some people, they don't realize that they are suffering. So then, Buddha said, there is a way that you can do this investigation, this self-realization investigation. That is where he introduced mindfulness. You have to be mindful on what? Not about the outside world. You have to be mindful what happens within you while you experience the world. What happens within you? Now, even now, this is an experience, right? You are experiencing something new. Just check what happens within you. That is what is called mindfulness. When you are at work, when you are on a holiday, when you are experiencing I heard that you are going to taste kottu tonight. When you take the first bite of kottu, experience what happens within you. Don't just simply sit and eat. When you taste, you were given only one glass of wine. That's very unfair. Mahesh? He is not here. You should at least give them a pitcher, right? A tower. So when you taste the first sip of wine, don't simply put it in. Check what happens. If you can introduce this small step into your life, right? You may not be able to do it 24/7 at the beginning, but if you can introduce at least for 1 minute, for 5 minutes in your life, you will start to feel something very different, very vibrant experience. You will gradually get to know what are the data which are coming to my mind and what are the fragments of thoughts I am creating based on those impulses, and how do I create ideas by connecting those dots, connecting those fragments, and most importantly, you will get to know in the very moment when you start to make ideologies out of ideas. So that's it. There's nothing more to talk about this. It's a very simple process, a very simple process. So this is the entirety of Buddhism. Can you see? That's why now I know that every spiritual thing have a religious aspect also, right? So the Buddhist spirituality is encompassed by religious Buddhism. That is for its protection. That is how everything happens. Even the Christianity has a spiritual spirit in it, and it is covered with the religious aspects. It's like a mango. There is a seed inside covered with a very tasty flesh. The most important thing for the tree is not the flesh but the seed. But in order to make it presentable to the animals who are going to spread their offspring, the tree has to cover the seed with a very flavored flesh. And we eat the mango and we throw the seed. In the aspect of tree, most important thing is not us eating the mango flesh, but us throwing or planting the seed. So every spiritual thing will be covered by a flesh. So you might have seen when you are traveling, big stupas, big churches, big temples and rituals, all those things are the religious aspect of it. Now we are here, what we uncovered is the seed. And it's very simple. It is not that much complex like the religious thing. It's very simple. So what for every group which I meet, I encourage them to introduce something, a spiritual practice to their day-to-day life. Why? Because I said that to uncover who you are, uncover the reality of your human experience, you have to be mindful. But mindful is something that you can develop within you. It's a skill. It's a skill. Now, can you remember on the very first day you were in the kindergarten, you did not know how to write, right? You did not know how to write. You did not know the alphabet. But over time, when you practice for many years now, you can read and write. And you can do more than that. On the very first day, you might have been trying to learn swimming. You did not know how to do this. So, those are skills. Swimming, dancing, everything. Those running, cooking, all those things are skills. By practice, you can develop those skills. So, mindfulness is too a skill. We all are mindful but not skilled enough to be mindful. We all have this. We all can run, we all can sing, but all of us cannot sing like Mariah Carey or Katy Perry. Why? She has developed the skill. So we are all mindful. Then it is our duty to develop that skill. So what I propose is to dedicate the first hour of your day to develop, to exercise, to develop your mindfulness. Why? First hour. Otherwise, you will skip it. If you keep it to the later date, or at the end of the day, you will never do it. You will have thousands of excuses to not to do it. But early in the morning, there are no excuses. So, the first hour, how do you do this exercise? My proposal is, you divide that 60 minutes into 3 parts, 20, 20, 20. First 20 minutes, you have to do a physical exercise to warm up your body, because your body should ready in order to meditate. You have to get the support of your body. So, with your age, with your health conditions, you can do anything which is suitable to you. But the thing is, at the end of the 20 minutes, you should feel warmed up. And it's better if you are sweating a lot. Right? 20 minutes physical workout, then the next 20 minutes. With that sweat, with that warm up, you sit somewhere comfortably. It doesn't matter whether, but don't sleep, no sleeping posture, on a chair or maybe crossed legs on the floor, right? You sit comfortably, close your eyes gently, do nothing. When you close your eyes and do nothing, the first few seconds, you will feel that everything is blank. But after few seconds, the thoughts will start to fall like a waterfall. Gradually the thoughts, those fragments of thoughts I said, they are not ideas yet, they are not ideologies yet. Those fragments will start to fall like a waterfall. Now imagine yourself in front of a waterfall. You simply observe those flowing thoughts, fragments. Simply observe. You do not want to repel any thought, you do not want to generate any thought, let it fall, you simply observe. But I have to tell you about the posture. The posture, it's make it the most comfortable way, but make sure that your chin is parallel to the floor. Because if you keep your chin like this and let your face facing forward, if you fall asleep, you will really notice it. You can notice it. If you start the meditation like this, you will simply fall without any. Or if you start like this also, you will not be noticed that you are falling asleep. But if you can keep your head straight and chin horizontal to the floor, when you are sleepy, you can see it. So you don't have to worry about the time, keep an alarm for 20 minutes, right? Let the alarm do the timing, you simply observe the thoughts. That is the next second 20 minutes. Then the final 20 minutes, most important third part, journaling. Keep a diary or simply a book, put the date, write down the thoughts which came to your mind during the meditation. As much as you can recall, that's it. You don't have to remember everything. There's no one to examine you, no one is going to give you grades. This is for your own purpose. Maintain a diary which came to your mind within the 20 minutes of meditation. Write down as much as possible. That's it. So at the beginning, it will be a bit difficult for you to meditate for 20 minutes. At least try to do it for 5 minutes. Right? 20 minutes exercise is not that hard. But meditation, I know, for a beginner it's difficult. So start for 5 minutes and write down what happened within that 5 minutes. So after 2 weeks, you will realize that I can increase the time little bit more. You can make 5 minutes into 10. Then next fortnight, 15, 20. Maximum 20 minutes. If somebody feels that I want to meditate more than that, it's up to you. But if you are going to do it, if you can do it every day, introduce this meditation practice, you will get to know, you will realize that your mindfulness is increasing. With every experience, you will see automatically you are focusing inside, inward. every moment that you are getting angry, at the inception itself, you think, okay, I'm okay. You get that thing, okay, I'm going to go mad now. I'm going to do something stupid now. I'm going to say something crazy now. This awareness, the level of awareness will be increased. Can you see? And you will get to know in the moment that you start to create ideologies. Then you are going to remove one brick by one brick. You are going to dismantle your mental prison. If you come to the full awareness, there won't be any prisons anymore. You will be the person who is really traveling in Sri Lanka, you will be the absolute traveler. Wherever you go, you simply watch a game which you are not a party to it. Do you understand? So this is what I wanted to introduce to you in this session. So if you have any questions, please, I would love to answer that for you.
Yes. There's a very interesting book for those who are interested called Anti-Fragile. Basically, what you've been talking about is what this book is about in its own way. It's written by a Lebanese man named Nassim Taleb, T-A-L-E-B. He basically is focusing on those events, situations that you cannot see, but might happen to you. It allows you to get rid of the perceived notions so that you can be ready for the new events that are around you that are happening that might be even more interesting than the perceived thoughts. It's a very interesting and somewhat difficult book to read, but it includes virtually all the points you've been talking about. There was a group in Boston who, in one of the hospitals, this physician, Herbert Benson was his name, and he was interested in discussing mindfulness. And he offered a course for 10 weeks, 1 day, 1 hour, or a couple hours per week. It was extremely fascinating.
You participated?
Yeah, because I learned that I could combine physical exercise with mental clarity. How did you stick with that? If I count backwards, my chin is always level because I'm having to think of the next number down, not up.
Yes.
And so you can, I use that, I count the steps in the hotel, so forth. It's, there were several things that came from that class, which were very interesting. What was it?
So, well, you're quite right. Now here, I introduced a very basic meditation practice. Now, if you go into deep, if you are interested, investigate. Who stops you? Now, you have the technology. Everything is in your hand right now. Investigate. You will find out there are different techniques. Because when I say something in general, it is general for on the surface level. But people are very specific. So, there are certain instances where you have to use different tools in meditation based on the characteristics of that particular individual. So, you said that counting is one such thing, where I do conduct meditation sessions, 4 days residential things. Now, those tools are used based on this. Now, for some people, this chit-chat in the mind, it's too much. That their thoughts are too much. That means they are changing their topics, internal topics, very rapidly. That is what you mean by the frequency of thoughts are high. You are changing the topics very rapidly. For such a person, it will be difficult simply to observe. So there I introduced very interesting thing. It's a walking meditation practice for a person suffers from extreme overthinking. I suggest them to walk backward. But then you have to select a very safer space, right? You should know that you are not in any danger, you are in the edge of a cliff. No, a very safe place, right? And you do walking meditation open eyes. You have to choose a space where you can at least walk for about 25 steps. For walking meditation, at least 25 steps. Then you walk backward with open eyes. You don't need to count, simply walk for 25 steps, right? You can put a marking, and from the corner of your eye you can say, okay, this is the ending point, this is the starting point. Then you turn back and walk backward again. This is another way which will help a person with an overthinking mind to start this. And counting is another thing. And the first thing, the book that you told, yes, this philosophy is everywhere. This is all about mind. This is mind engineering, right? So I won't say this is only there in Buddhism. It is there in Christianity, it is there in Islamism, but only rarely handful of people would investigate into the level of spirituality. Because most of the people, they enjoy that colorful, vibrant, all these offerings and colorful events. But once in a while, as like you people, they would start to deeply penetrate through that surface level to see the seed within. So you will find this philosophy everywhere, believe me, everywhere. And the aspect that he was talking is that preparation for the events from mind. It is one nature. When you are in the process of investigation, you get to know what happens in the mind. Mind has different abilities. Mindfulness itself is an ability of the mind. One ability of mind is this thinking. Then people think that thinking is bad. No, it is not. Thinking is there for preparation. If the thinking is no longer inside you, you have to face events without any preparation. Now imagine a moment where you have to make a call. Don't you think how I am going to greet him? It happens. It's a natural phenomenon. When you are going to face an interview, there is a preparation from within. It's a natural phenomenon. Because unless that pre-preparation is there, you are going to put yourself into trouble. Nowadays, you are engaged in a particular profession. If you are a lawyer, if you are an architect, you think about architecturing, you think about lawyering, you think about cooking, right? Now, back old days, when your great ancestors were in caves and they were hunting, they were thinking about how I am going to face a tiger next day morning, how am I going to face a bear next day morning. That is what they thought. That should be there. Otherwise, they will simply face a bear, not knowing how am I going to react. So, its thinking is entirely a natural phenomenon. So, in Vipassana, in mindfulness, we are not going to change what happens in the mind. We simply want to investigate and observe and get to know. That is why the term enlightenment means we are getting enlightened, right? But from a religion, the religion would not simply want to let you to investigate. It wants to carve something new out of you. Religions, belief systems will designate, will show you a path for you to become. But in spirituality, it will help you to investigate who you really are. It doesn't want you to make you become someone. When you get to know who you really are, there is no need for somebody else to dictate on what to do. You know your faculties, you will make use of it. Let's say you're cooking for the first time in the kitchen, and your mother-in-law, your mother, have to say at one step by every step, okay, put this much of salt, this much of capsicum, this much of this and that. You have to be guided, right? But once you get to know how to cook, no need guidance thereafter. You can cook. Do you understand? So here, process of investigation will empower you to work on yourself by your own. There are no empires are being built. You're being empowered, no control, you're liberated. Because we are trying to get out of a prison. There's no point of getting into another religious prison in the way of liberating yourself from one prison. It's like changing the prison. No point. Yes.
So if as I've understood it, the goal is enlightenment. Is there a goal or is it a process? And if it is a goal to reach enlightenment, how do you know when you're there?
Very, very good question. Now, enlightenment is not a goal. It's a process. Right? Now, why? When you create a goal from your mind, okay, I should know, okay, once I am enlightened, I am like this. Okay, so I should show the natures, and from realizing that I have achieved those nature, then I am enlightened. What are you creating now? You are creating another prison. An enlightenment prison. Enlightened prison. The walls are colored in a different color. The bricks are different. The poles, the roads are different, but still a prison. So enlightenment, the process here, spiritual process, is not a goal. It's simply a process. You get to know. You get to know. It's an investigation. It's a never-ending investigation. Do you realize? So, yes, people are very much fancied to achieve things. So therefore, now let's say you have been, if you have been in a university, you want to achieve a degree. You like yourself to be called as an undergraduate and then a graduate, then there is a PhD, then as a professor. You are seeking for credentials. But enlightenment is not a credential. It is more or less you are losing your credentials. Because the credentials are the very prisons that you have already created. Here, you are gradually losing the values given to most of those credentials. So it's a process.
How do you know when you're when you're succeeding on your path? How does it feel in your mind or in your heart? Or do you feel? Or do you just do the process every day, trust?
I will give you the example, the very example I used. It's like watching a soccer match which you do not favor any party. You simply enjoy the life as like that event.
You no longer are grasping. Yeah.
You are not favoring to any event.
Would being in the moment be
In the
part
moment.
of that, being in the moment, instead of, like, we're busy taking pictures instead of just being in the moment?
What do you think?
I think you need to be in the moment to move forward.
Okay, good. Let's investigate. If you think that be in the moment is what should happen, don't you think you are creating another prison in the present moment? Why can't we simply let our mind to think about the past, think about the future? Once in a while, if he prefers, comes to the present moment. That is where you have to be very mindful. Because it's very tricky. The mind always wants to imprison you. Even in the present moment, she wants to imprison you. Be vigilant. Don't cling on to any ideology. If my mind wants to go to the future, let it go. I will simply observe. If my mind wants to go to the past, let it go. Why should I stop? Let it go. Do you really understand? So always in this process, remember you are investigating. If your mind creates, okay, this is what should happen after enlightenment or in enlightenment, investigate, am I creating another prison? Am I watching a game which I am not supporting to any party? Do I need a victory to a particular group, to a particular club? If it is so, it is not a path to liberation. It is a trap towards another prison.
What about relationships with other people? I mean, we have relationships, we have feelings, we have ideas, we have ideologies about family, about politics, whatever. Is the goal to just let go of those ideas, those relationships, so it's just you and not attached to anything?
Good question. Now, when you are aware, when your mindfulness develops, you will see that there are certain ideologies you have already created. Now, what should I do with the ideology that I have already created? Do nothing. Don't change anything. Simply the process. Be more and more mindful. Be more and more mindful. Increase the awareness more and more. That's it. Let the mind do the rest of the work. If you try to, just put your finger and try to meddle with those ideologies, you will think that I will get rid of it. No. You are strengthening it more and more. Now, let's say you think, okay, I should get rid of this ideology. You are having that idea, right? There is, once you are mindful, you will get to know there's another secret. There are a lot of secrets, right? I'm sorry, we do not have much time to discuss all this. It's like would be a very long process. But one such secret with the mind is, the mind cannot take negative commands. If you say no to your mind, it will do it more and more. It's a very simple example. If I ask you to not to think about monkeys for 10 seconds.
Monkey.
So many monkeys will start to come. Purple face leaf monkeys. Right? That's what happens. When you say no to your mind, it's like a very stubborn child. Don't ever say no. If your mind goes to the future, don't say no, I should be in the present moment. That will never happen. It will go more deeper into the future, more deeper into the past. Simply be an observer. That is what mindfulness means. You are not meddling with the mind. You are simply an observer. You just want to investigate, right? You want to get to know what is happening. You do not want to make someone out of it. You simply want to know, who am I?
Did you mean that the first prison is in utero when you have no frame of reference and you can't see, you can't speak, you can't taste or whatever? Was that the first one that you meant or no?
Well, when to identify whether you are in the prison, you cannot see simply because you perceive flavors, smell things, it doesn't mean that you are in a prison, right? On the very moment, if you decide, okay, in my enclosure, I should only smell this smell, I should only taste this flavor, then you are in a prison. So, simply because you are tasting kottu, it doesn't make you in a prison, put you in a prison. But thereafter, if you think, hereafter for the rest of my life, I should only be offered kottu, then you are in a prison. Okay? It is not the nature that because we got our eyes ears, nose through nature. Nature did not put us in a prison. It is by ourselves. Voluntarily we imprisoned ourselves.
How we interpret our environment.
Yes.
It's like in the Bible, in the first chapter at Genesis, that say that Adam and Eve was made in a paradise, right? And they were allowed to enjoy the paradise. But then the God said there is a tree which is called the forbidden tree. In the very moment you consume an apple from the forbidden tree, thereafter you will go to hell. You will lose the paradise. So it is always okay to taste, but not the forbidden fruit. Forbidden fruit means getting into an ideology.
So, according to what you said, would you put place spirituality and consciousness on the one shelf?
Spirituality and the conscious. Spirituality is a process. Consciousness is something which is already there. Through spirituality, you investigate consciousness. You understand? It's the process. It's a name for the process. And in the spiritual process, the key to be used is mindfulness. The key to be used is mindfulness. And now that is the ultimate key. There is no other key. If you go one single step beyond mindfulness, you are meddling with the mind. You are creating another prison. If you do a step less than mindfulness, again you are creating another prison. If you simply be an observer, you will get to know what consciousness means. Consciousness is not a simple thing. Now you think that your consciousness is yours, but consciousness does not work like that. Consciousness is universal. I don't want to go into that aspect. It's like that you have taken a bite out of that huge consciousness and claim yourself as, what is your good name?
Sorry? Vidas.
Vidas. You call your name as Vidas. Consciousness is something that you cannot put on a shelf. The shelf is the consciousness. The person who put it on the shelf itself is the consciousness, and the consciousness is the consciousness. Consciousness is everywhere. If you can travel to the very end of the universe, still the consciousness is there. It's a very deep spiritual aspect that you question me on. It's too heavy to put on a shelf. Yes.
So, when we try to be mindful, then ourselves, I'm mindful. I'm mindful. Is that all?
At the beginning, you will do it like that. It doesn't matter. There is something to start with, no. Now, if you want, you might have seen infants. They simply cannot walk from their two legs and stand very next day, right? First, they have to crawl. So, thinking like that is the crawling process of spirituality. It's okay. We call it that effortful mindfulness. There is something called effortless mindfulness. Now, if simply keep your feet on the floor, can you sense something? If you can sense something, you are mindful. You don't have to think, okay, I am sensing something. That is something additional effort you are putting. That's okay, that happens. That's like crawling. But gradually, over time, if you continue the practice, you will get to know, no, there is something very easy. Observing is very easy. And then only you will get to know that 24/7 mindfulness process. That every time you are mindful, with every movement, with every experience in life, you are mindful. You understand? So I think it's better for us to do like 10 minutes, a small session. Like now I told you that what we are going to do here to observe the thoughts, right? We will give it a try for few minutes, 10 minutes. Simply try to be an observer. When your mind goes to the past or the future, don't try to drag it back to the present moment. You go with it and observe what happens, right? So naturally, when you start to observe your mind traveling, it will naturally, automatically come to the present moment. Then you will start to hear bird calls, people talking, and you will start to smell the presence. That's fine, right? And remember, this is not stillness meditation. In mindfulness meditation, nothing can disturb you. Even a bomb blast next to you, that is another experience for you. You simply have to observe. So there is nothing to challenge your meditation if you do mindfulness, right? So we will try to do that. So as I told you, try to keep your posture as comfortable as possible and keep your chin parallel to the floor and gently close your eyes. And your mind will suggest to change your posture, to itch here, okay, you scratch your head. Don't do it. Those are tricks. Change your leg a little bit. So try to be in the beginning posture that you started with throughout the session, only for 10 minutes, right? Shall we do it? Okay. So until I give you a signal, we'll try to do it for 10 minutes. Just observe your thoughts. Gently open your eyes. Gently open your eyes. It's very easy to meditate when you do not want to confine your mind, when you have no ambition to take it anywhere. If you simply observe it, it's very easy to meditate. I heard footsteps, I heard a bus honking, I heard bird calls. All those things I can journal now. That is the journaling. And I thought about how am I going to go back to Galle? Would Mahesh provide me transportation? You might have thought of Kottu tonight. You simply write it down. For what? We are strengthening mindfulness. That's it. Only the process, no goals.
One last question. So
Yes, please.
meditation. So can mind observe the mind? Because
Yes, it's a very good question. Mind has the quality of observing itself. That quality, we label it as mindfulness. Mindfulness is another emotion, a faculty of mind. Anger is an emotion. Love, compassion is an emotion. All those things are expressions of mind. Mindfulness is another expression of mind. That is the only hope that we have for our liberation. If that expression is not there, we cannot ever escape from the prison created by minds. But luckily, the nature has given the key to liberation in mind itself. Do you understand? It's an expression. So I think we had a wonderful time. I hope you understood something about the Buddhist spirituality, and I invite you again. It's my humble proposal. Try to introduce something to your day-to-day life to develop your mindfulness. You will definitely bear fruits of it as very soon. So I bless you all to have a blissful life, that you will be enjoy this match of life without supporting any party. Thank you very much for your.
What is the role of the drumming?
What is the?
What is the role of the drumming guy here?
Did you hear drumming?
Yeah. In the
Temple.
In the temple? All right. It's another offering as a way of a sound. Right? So in that case you do that, and there's another effect. It's a sound meditation, it's a sound therapy. For the participants, they use it as a sound therapy. That's another way. Mindfulness can be developed in different ways. Meditation, seated meditation is only one aspect. Dancing, music, there are a lot of avenues. Please investigate. Your journey should begin today itself. Search for more about it. Then you will get to know more. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, if I invite you all to visit Sri Lanka again. Okay, may the Triple Gem bless you.